On the way to the hospital for childbirth, my husband suddenly received a phone call claiming an emergency. He then abandoned me on the roadside with my water already broken, instructing me to hail a taxi to the hospital myself. As a result, while I was trying to flag down a car, I was struck and flung by a fatigued truck driver. It resulted in 1 corpse and 2 lives lost on the spot. When my mother came to collect my body, she cried to the point of fainting multiple times. At the same time, my husband's white moonlight updated her Facebook. My precious daughter almost had a difficult birth, thanks to your timely arrival. Thank you for giving me a sense of security. I am truly so happy. The accompanying image showed their interlocked fingers and a French bulldog that had just given birth in the pet hospital delivery room. After sending me to the funeral home, my mother, dragging her exhausted body, found him and used sign language to question why he had abandoned me. However, he impatiently shut my mother outside the door. She is such an independent person, she can go give birth on her own, but Selena has depression. Without me, she would die. Adrian, I hate you. My soul, accompanying my mother's collapsing body, uttered the only words I wanted to say to Adrian at that moment. Adrian and I had been married for 4 years, but I had liked him for 12 years. In fact, marrying him was purely due to my good luck. Adrian was the future heir of the Lee family and had fallen in love with Selena, a minor actress. Old Madame Margaret was furious. She had always disliked people from the entertainment industry and thus forcibly separated them. Using shares as leverage, she forced him to marry me, who had grown up in the Lee family since childhood. I knew he was just appeasing his grandmother, but I was so happy that I could not sleep for several nights. Adrian had a cold temperament. After marriage, our interactions were minimal, and even our first time was initiated by me. But I was content, at least he was by my side, and at least our son was about to be born soon. After learning of the pregnancy, to avoid making him feel that I would use our son to control him in the future, I strived to appear independent. Prenatal checkups, filing records, preparing the delivery bag, and selecting the hospital, all were done by me alone. The only request I made of him was to accompany me on the day of delivery. I said I was afraid of dying, afraid of never seeing him again. He held me and smiled, gently tapping my forehead. What nonsense, how could I let you die? In the future, we will raise the child together. However, dreams that are too beautiful are easily shattered. In the end, in his heart, I was merely a choice after weighing pros and cons. My only request was so vulnerable in front of Selena, like a joke. Pity my son, he had not even had time to open his eyes and see this bustling world before he gasped his last breath on the cold ground. He was ejected from my body due to the impact. I dare not imagine how much pain such a tiny him must have felt in that instant of landing. Inside Qingshan Funeral Home, my sons and my bodies were covered with white cloth. It was said that we were waiting for the scheduled time to begin cremation. My mother hunched her body, her tears had dried up, and her cloudy eyes held only numbness. Considering her advanced age and that she was deaf-mute, the funeral home staff kindly allowed her to wait in the VIP area. I followed her there, and as soon as we entered, I saw Adrian holding Selena in his arms, comforting her. Selena was holding an exquisite LV blanket in her arms, her face haggard, her eye sockets red and moist, presenting a pitiable appearance. When Adrian looked at her, his dark eyes were filled with heartache and affection. Adrian, my precious daughter has died, my good grandchildren no longer have a mother. I want to keep a section of Tong Tong's ashes after cremation to make a bracelet, so it can accompany me forever. What do you think? Selena's precious daughter Tang Tang was a French bulldog, given to her by Adrian when she was sent abroad. After hearing these words, the pity in Adrian's eyes deepened, and he held her even tighter. The next moment, he noticed my mother's figure standing at the door. The affection in Adrian's eyes suddenly vanished, replaced by extreme impatience. He released Selena, walked to my mother's side with slightly furrowed brows, appearing very displeased. He quickly signed in unskilled sign language. Mom, how did you track me here? Don't follow Elaine in making a fuss, okay? After I handle things, I'll go to the hospital to see her. Selena and I are just friends, don't overthink it. My mother's tears had long dried up. At that moment, she only had a pair of hollow eyes looking at him. After a moment, she turned away with a cold face, preparing to go elsewhere. Her hunched back was covered with the word despair. Looking at that back, I could no longer hold back. Transparent tears fell one by one onto the floor. "I'm sorry, Mom, I shouldn't have ignored your words and fallen in love with Adrian." Selena stepped forward in a few strides, blocking my mother's path, and softly said to Adrian, "Help me translate for Auntie, ask her to tell Sister Elaine sorry on my behalf. My precious Tang Tang died from postpartum hemorrhage, so Adrian came to accompany me. Tell them not to misunderstand." Her gentle, jade-like explanation appeared extremely sincere. However, her eyes revealed an undisguisable provocation and triumph. "You see, the dog Adrian gave her was named Tang Tang. This was provocation. Adrian could even abandon me with broken water on the roadside to accompany her in delivering the dog's puppies. This was her triumph." My mother ignored her, not even sparing her a glance, and only made a gesture toward Adrian indicating "bad woman, mistress." Selena did not understand. However, Adrian furrowed his brows deeply, his tone carrying barely suppressed anger. "Mom, Selena has been so heartbroken over Tong Tong's death that she hasn't eaten all day. Can you not slander her casually? I already explained to you earlier, we are just friends now." Seeing Adrian protect Selena like this, my mother's body leaning against the wall trembled uncontrollably. Her already hunched figure bent even lower. I knew she was grieving for me, feeling it was not worth it for me. My mother had never acted like this in front of him, she always faced him with a smile. Seeming to detect something amiss, facing an elder, Adrian ultimately lowered his stance. Patiently signing to my mother, "Selena is in a bad state after the blow, so I came to accompany her. Once I settle Selena, I'll go see Elaine and the baby right away. She is such an independent person, she won't get angry with me over this trivial matter, right?" I stood right in front of him, listening to his words, my heart aching as if repeatedly twisted by a knife. "Adrian, it has been 2 days, have you ever thought once about the safety of me and the baby?" My mother raised her trembling hand, laboriously signing, "It's too late, you have no chance." "Yes, no chance anymore, Adrian, you will never see me and the baby again." After saying that, my mother buried her head in her arms, tears surging again, falling where Adrian could not see. Seeing my mother no longer looking at him, Adrian seemed somewhat anxious. He then took out his phone and finally sent me an Instagram message. "What's wrong with Mom today? Why has she been giving me a bad face all along? Don't talk nonsense with her, quickly call her to go back first. I promise to appear in front of you before 6 p.m. In 12 years, this was the first time he softened in front of me. However, it was already meaningless. After a long time, he received no reply from me, perhaps realizing I was sulking with him. Ultimately feeling guilty, after a moment, he still called his assistant, "The land deed and bank card on my desk, take them to the hospital for Elaine, appease her on my behalf and tell her I'll be back later." This was what Adrian promised me as a reward for continuing the Lee family line, 50 million and a building. If it were before, to avoid making things difficult for him, I would happily accept his compensation and forgive him. But now, it was impossible forever. The staff approached my mother with a handwritten note, indicating that the time had arrived. The next to be cremated were me and the baby. However, Selena suddenly pushed away the cart holding me and the baby, preventing us from entering. Holding the dog, she stood at the door of cremation room number 8. "Adrian, the master calculated the time, cremating at this hour is best, so Tang Tang can be reborn into a good life next time." As soon as she shed tears, Adrian felt heartache. He took out his bank card and gave it to the staff. "I'll add money, give us this time slot." The staff expressed difficulty, but Adrian showed a fierce expression. "Don't forget who funded your new equipment." "Yes, funded by Adrian, otherwise, it would not be possible to accept a dog and humans in the same cremation furnace." My mother, seeing the staff about to push Selena's dog in, seemed to understand what was happening. She rushed over like mad to stop it, quickly signing questions. "Why give our time slot to a dog? No, no, we won't allow it." Her frail figure appeared so helpless at that moment. A person who had been silent her whole life finally went mad trying to seek justice for her daughter. Watching her, my heart ached as if bleeding. Selena feigned panic, hiding behind Adrian. Adrian, what's wrong with Auntie? I just want a good time for Tang Tang. Why is she targeting me everywhere today? While speaking, my mother caused a commotion right in front, trying to push her out along with the dog. Selena became more panicked, hiding in Adrian's arms. Adrian, I'm scared. This was the first time Adrian encountered such a situation. His patience had evidently run out. Grabbing my mother's arm, he separated her from Selena. Mom, did Elaine send you to cause trouble? I said I would go back. Why does she still do this? This will only make me dislike her. In times of grief, human potential is limitless. My mother paid no attention to what Adrian said, focusing solely on pushing Selena out. Selena took the opportunity to badmouth to Adrian. I heard before that Auntie is very gentle. She worked in your family for a lifetime without ever getting angry. What's wrong today? Outsiders might think she's your real mom. With several people in the hall, such a commotion made Adrian feel he was losing face. He sternly shouted at my mother, Mom, with this energy to argue with me, why not go back and accompany Elaine and the child? Do you really care about your daughter, or do you want something from me? If you want money, I'll transfer 10 million to you right away. My mother gnashed her teeth in hatred, regretting only that she could not speak. For my sake, she would not yield. Selena, spoiled and arrogant, also would not yield. During the pushing and shoving, the baby fell from the bed to the ground. No. My soul lunged forward. But when I tried to catch him with my hands, the baby's tiny figure passed through my palms and fell to the ground. I knelt on the ground, hysterically crying, Adrian, that's our baby. For the second time, I failed to protect him, letting him fall on the cold ground. The instant my mother saw the baby fall, she was like a beast on the verge of death, launching a final attack. She slapped Selena hard. Selena cried even harder, her red eyes filled with grievance and fear. Ah, what is that thing? Auntie, what are you doing? Making a fuss here for an unwanted child and even hitting me. Adrian was truly angry. He grabbed the child's leg from the ground and forcefully threw her back onto the bed. What are you all standing there for? Can't handle the living, but don't know to push out the dead? My soul was about to shatter. I dashed over and lightly landed beside my son. Baby, don't cry, Mommy is here, Mommy is here. Does it hurt? Mommy will blow on it for you. This was the first time Adrian lost his temper at my mother. She had watched him grow up, and previously, no matter what conflicts there were between us, he still respected her. But this time, for Selena, he lost his temper. Mom, I respect you as an elder, but if you don't apologize to Selena this time, move out of the Lee family in the future. My mother's bloodshot eyes stared straight at him, signing, Adrian, no need for you to drive me out, I will take my daughter and leave. In Adrian's eyes, there seemed to be some confusion. He wanted to say something more. But his phone rang. It was a call from the assistant. Already full of anger, Adrian roared into the phone, tell Elaine, if she doesn't call me back within 1 minute, don't ever think of speaking to me again. The assistant hemmed and hawed for a long time before stammering, Adrian, the hospital said Madam didn't arrive. I investigated and found that Madam encountered a car accident on the way while hailing a taxi yesterday, resulting in 1 corpse and 2 lives lost. Now, she is at Qingshan Funeral Home awaiting cremation. Also, the old Madam has rushed back from abroad. She probably doesn't know about Madam's death yet. Prepare yourself. As soon as the assistant finished speaking, Adrian was stunned, a flash of terror in his eyes, even his pupils trembling. His anger seemed to fade, but in no time, deep annoyance appeared in his eyes again. What benefit did Elaine give you to cooperate with her in bringing out the old Madam to deceive me? If you don't want to work, get out tomorrow. Look, even now, he was still so confident, always self-centered and presumptuous. Adrian, I never used the child to threaten you before, nor do I now, and I never will in the future. Seeing that Adrian did not believe, he even hung up the phone. Moments later, the assistant sent a video from the dashcam to his Instagram, which exactly recorded the entire process from me getting out of the car to the accident. Although I am now just a soul without sensation, facing the situation again, that bone-deep agony was like death by 1,000 cuts, slicing me with unbearable pain. Especially seeing the moment the baby was ejected from my body due to the impact, I hysterically roared at Adrian like a madwoman. "Look, that's the baby, you said you would cherish him for a lifetime, you said you would make him the happiest person in the world, you would be the best dad in the world. But he died because of you. Adrian, you don't deserve to be his father." But it was all in vain, he could not hear a bit. At this moment, I finally felt how helpless it is to be a soul. Adrian's hand gripping the phone gradually tightened, veins bulging, trembling more and more. His tall figure, like sun-withered daylilies, gradually bent, finally kneeling on the ground. His eyes were full of disbelief. How is it possible? How is it possible? Clearly, there aren't many cars on that road. Clearly, there aren't many cars on that road, how could this happen? After Selena noticed Adrian's appearance, she put on an obedient and lovable demeanor again, starting to comfort and blame herself. "Adrian, I know you are in great pain, but this was an accident, no one wants accidents to happen. Don't blame yourself too much, if anyone, blame me. It's all because I called you away that day, otherwise, Sister Elaine wouldn't have had the accident." As she spoke, Selena's tears had already fallen. Large pearl-like drops smashed onto Adrian's arm. She appeared pitiable, extremely self-blaming. But the corners of her mouth revealed an undisguisable triumphant upturn. This kind of triumph had been present since the first time I saw her. The first time I saw Selena was a year ago. At that time, Adrian accompanied me to the hospital for a checkup. Back then, he seemed to have truly let go of Selena's matter. "Elaine, if the checkup shows suitable conditions, let's have a child. In the future, I will live well with you." I nodded quickly, extremely happy. With a child, we would truly be a couple. The waiting of these years was worth it. However, on the way to the hospital again, on the same road, he received Selena's call saying she had returned to the country. Again, the same words, "There's an emergency at the company, go by taxi yourself." He might not know that I heard the voice on the other end, it was a woman's. He left without looking back, the speeding car representing his mood. Very anxious, as if he had waited for this day for a long time. That day, I was so sad that I shed tears non-stop. For the first time, I initiated a cold war with him. I didn't want to deal with him. Adrian returned very late at night, I heard it. But I deliberately pretended to be asleep. Sounds rustled beside me, and a scorching chest tightly pressed against my back. I was held in his arms. Selena was sent abroad because of me. She suffered a lot these years, even developed depression, nearly suicidal several times. This return is also for treatment. This is what I owe her. I have to take responsibility. Don't be angry, okay? What I said still counts. In the future, our family of 3 will live well, alright? That day, we tossed and turned the entire latter half of the night. It was also that day I conceived the baby. Look, I am so spineless. So easy to coax, every time, his few words make me surrender. However, I still underestimated Selena. In the second month after her return, she actually came to the door. "Hello, Mrs. Elaine, I am Selena, Adrian's ex-girlfriend." I had only heard of her before, that was the first time meeting her. Selena was truly beautiful, fair and tender, with a pitiable and endearing appearance. One look and you knew she was Adrian's type. I admit that at that moment, a trace of inferiority quietly crept into my heart. But at the same time, I had firm confidence. I had a bargaining chip she could never have. I was pregnant. I quietly placed my hand on my lower abdomen, looking straight at her, neither humble nor arrogant. Miss Selena also knows her own identity, just an ex-girlfriend. As an ex-girlfriend, coming to my home so openly is inappropriate. If others see, they might think you are our family's Jinchun's mistress, coming to force the palace. Selena smiled, looking at me and smiling for a long time. Her eyes held emotions I could not fathom. She leaned close to my ear and whispered, "The one not loved is the mistress, dare to bet." Just as I had not yet understood the meaning in her words, Selina grabbed my wrist and then rolled down the stairs from the second floor. Her head was broken, blood flowing all over the ground. This scene was exactly witnessed by Adrian. "Adrian, I know after I returned, Sister Elaine has many misunderstandings about us. I came specially today to explain to her, but don't blame her, it's my fault for not standing steady." Leaving the words half said, allowing imagination. Adrian carried Selina out the door, looking back at me with eyes full of disgust. "Elaine, I didn't expect you to be so ruthless." Carrying Selina into the car. The moment the car door closed, Selina's eyes were full of triumph, just like now. But differently, this time facing Selina's crying, Adrian unusually did not coax her. Instead, he suddenly seemed to think of something, pushed Selina away, stood up, and began searching for something. Selina staggered, nearly falling to the ground. But Adrian ignored it. This was the first time seeing him treat Selina this way. Countless times I had fantasized that if one day Adrian would, for my sake, keep Selina 1,000 miles away, how happy I would be. But at this moment, it seemed to have just happened. Yet I was not happy at all. What I exchanged with my death, I don't want. Adrian was looking for my mother. He turned the entire funeral home upside down. In the end, he did not find her. The funeral home staff told him that the baby and I had already been cremated. The ashes were taken away by my mother, destination unknown. Perhaps the impact from seeing the video earlier was too great, so much so that I did not notice my mother's departure. I had no choice but to follow Adrian home again. On the way, he did not speak to Selina, only after sending her home did he instruct, "Grandma has returned, because of Elaine's matter, she will definitely be furious. Don't come find me recently, don't court bad luck." Through the car window, I numbly watched them, my heart left with only a bitter smile. Indeed, what happened earlier was accidental. How could Adrian truly ignore Selina because of me? Even now, he was still instructing her to be careful, not to be troubled by the old madam. The car sped home on the road. Adrian smoked, his eyes holding emotions I could not understand. Nanny Aunt May placed the cooked porridge on the dining table, her eyes red-rimmed, saying, "Sir, eat something." Then she sobbed self-blamingly, "If only that day I wasn't afraid of something happening at home and went to the hospital with you, Madam wouldn't." Heaven is blind, Madam was such a good person, how could she encounter such a thing? Aunt May cried. My tears also could not be held back, my heart swelling with sourness. Aunt May had been with us for 4 years, treating me like a daughter. Upon learning of my pregnancy, she was so happy she couldn't sleep for days and nights. When the due date was approaching, she was to accompany me to the hospital. However, that day her home suddenly caught fire, and she went back for half a day. My mother, being deaf-mute and in poor health, I did not notify her, fearing she would worry. I thought to have someone bring my mother to the hospital after the baby was born. Adrian held my hand, "Don't worry, I promise to accompany you all along. I hired the best doctors, you will be safe." Actually, having him accompany me was enough, I would fear nothing. However, in front of Selina, all my expectations were like a joke. With one call from her, Adrian still abandoned me on the roadside. Adrian looked at the porridge in front of him, his eyes becoming vacant and lifeless, his voice also hoarsening. This porridge was specially prepared by me for him, his stomach was weak, so I cooked stomach-nourishing porridge for him every day. "Aunt May, take the porridge away, I don't want to eat. I want to be alone for a while." Adrian went upstairs, returning to our room. The room was still arranged as it was a few days ago, filled with various baby supplies. These were all prepared by me personally. To make the baby comfortable, I washed them all by hand. I gently brushed over them with my hand. They will never be used again. Adrian went straight to the study, locking himself inside. He had a habit of reading financial magazines at night. Today was no exception. The difference was that today he seemed very irritable, several pages were crumpled in his grip. A few minutes later, He flipped to the assistant's Instagram. Has the hit-and-run driver been found? Not yet temporarily, it seems premeditated, avoiding surveillance. I'll keep an eye on it, striving to find soon. He irritably threw the phone aside. While rummaging through the drawer, a piece of paper appeared in front of him, filled with various instructions. It was written by me the day before going to the hospital. Stomach medicine is in the third drawer, prepared for 7 days total. Remember to take it when uncomfortable. I'll have Aunt May deliver nutritious porridge to your company every day, must eat it. I checked the weather forecast, there might be heavy rain recently, don't go out that day, unsafe. All suits are ironed, hanging in the wardrobe, ties are matched too. Almost forgot, there's also hangover soup. I know you inevitably encounter drinking occasions. I placed it in the car, remember to take it out if needed. And the most important point, think of a name for the baby. Finally, congratulations to Adrian on upgrading to fatherhood. At the end was a small sunflower drawing. The company was facing listing, very busy recently, he could not stay in the hospital with me for 7 days. I understood and also felt heartache for him. Adrian read my instructions word by word, his hand gripping the paper trembling uncontrollably. Plop, a tear fell on it, blurring that sunflower. In this instant, I became somewhat dazed, incredulous. Was he shedding tears for me? How could he be sad to tears because of me? He should be happy. But when I floated to his side, I saw with my own eyes his bloodshot eyes and non-stop falling tears. Suddenly, I became somewhat irritable. It's too late, Adrian, you look really ugly like this now. As soon as the old madam's plane landed, she headed straight home. At over 70 years old, she showed no mercy when whipping with her cane. Adrian knelt on the ground, his back already soaked in blood, yet he remained silent throughout. The old madam, even angrier, continued to whip fiercely. I'll beat you to death, you beast, that was your wife and child, and you dared to abandon her on the roadside. Elaine's mother is my lifesaver, if not for her, your grandma would have died long ago. Where would you, this unfilial grandson, come from? Is this how you repay them? Adrian's forehead was covered in large beads of sweat, relentlessly smashing onto the floor. He was almost about to faint. But just as the old madam had no intention of letting him go, Selina arrived, blocking in front of Adrian. She wore no makeup, her face looking somewhat haggard. Grandma, let Adrian go, he didn't mean it. If anyone, blame me. The old madam had always disliked her, this time seeing her, she was full of anger. Her words held no politeness. Get out, who is your grandma? I'm disciplining my own family, what does it have to do with you? Don't be shameless. Get out immediately, or I'll beat you too. Yet Selina insisted on not leaving, kneeling down in front of the old madam. Grandma, don't you just want a grandson? I'll give birth for you. I'm pregnant, it's Adrian's, already 2 months. She touched her belly, pearl-like tears rolling down one by one. My heart instantly froze, aching as if vividly torn apart by someone. 2 months, calculating the time, it was probably around my birthday. Adrian promised to stay home all day to accompany me, but in the evening, he received a call from a stranger saying Selina had drunk too much at the bar and fainted on the roadside. Adrian said he would go and return quickly, but in the end, I waited until the next day without seeing him. So, while I was 7 months pregnant, carrying the belly and waiting for him at home, he got another woman pregnant. The old madam stopped, staring straight at Selina kneeling in front. She had always hoped to hold a great-grandchild, constantly muttering that if she could hold one before death, she could die in peace. I could no longer fulfill her wish, but Selina was pregnant. Grandma, no. I saw the old madam's eyes seemingly soften, her extended hand about to touch Selina's cheek. I could not help but shout unwillingly. But the next moment, the old madam hardened her heart and slapped Selina's face. Even if the Lee family dies out, we won't want an unclean child. Casually taking a bastard and saying it's the Lee family's, do you deserve it? Don't think I don't know what dirty things you've done abroad these years. Selina covered her face, wanting to say more, but was dragged away by the bodyguards. Old madam, quickly call the doctor, Adrian has fainted. After all, her own grandson, the old madam still ordered Adrian to be sent back to the room and called the doctor. She also instructed to find my mother as soon as possible. Adrian slept unconscious for a day and a night, muttering nonsense during that time. When he woke again, his face was full of haggardness. Plus the unshaven beard of several days on his face, the whole person was like an empty shell without a soul, completely different from his previous image as a business elite. Aunt May brought food and placed it by his bedside, her eyes full of heartache. "Sir, does the wound on your back hurt? If it hurts, say so, I'll get you painkillers." Elaine was so afraid of pain, she would cry even from injections. At the moment of impact, how much pain she must have felt. "Baby, Daddy is sorry to you. It's all my fault, all my fault." After waking, Adrian kept repeating these words. He even banged his head against the wall, looking like a madman, scaring Aunt May badly. Sorry, Elaine, I really didn't know this would happen." He cried again. Tears flowed over his weathered cheeks, smashing onto the ground one by one. I finally heard him say sorry. But everything was already too late. The assistant came home, bringing news. "Adrian, there's a clue on the hit-and-run driver." Adrian perked up, immediately sitting straight. "Speak quickly." A week before the incident, someone saw Miss Selina go to the suburbs, and that hit-and-run driver happens to live there. The police also investigated that the driver's account had a deposit of $1 million during that period. So the police suspect it's Miss Selina, no, Selina hiring to kill. After learning this news, Adrian tightly gripped the table corner, his hand deforming and twisting from the force. Then he smashed down fist after fist. His expression grave, gritting his teeth, he said, "I remember now. Those days her whereabouts were indeed uncertain, even answering calls behind my back. It's all my fault. If I had suspected earlier, Elaine wouldn't. I don't deserve to be her husband, even less to be the child's father." Mentioning this, he cried again, holding my photo in his arms, apologizing non-stop. "What's the use of crying, what's the use of apologizing? I warned you long ago, the woman surnamed Lou is no good. Look at these photos, this is her so-called miserable life abroad these years." The old madam walked into the room with her cane. After hearing her words, the bodyguard placed a thick stack of photos in front of Adrian. The photos showed Selina in various attires. In dens of iniquity, intimately dancing with various men, actions extremely ambiguous. Also going to hotels, in cars, in the wild. And multiple photos coming out of gynecology hospitals. Selina said she lived in pain abroad these years, even developing depression because of it. Her lies were mercilessly pierced by these photos. The old madam issued harsh words: if Selina dared to be truly pregnant with a Lee family child, abort immediately, she would absolutely not recognize it. But regarding the child, Adrian never stated his position, nor denied it. When all facts were laid bare, the blow to Adrian was fatal. He began to suffer insomnia all night, refused to eat, constantly holding my photo and crying bitterly until falling asleep. In a few days, the whole person became emaciated. The old madam had bodyguards watch him at all times to prevent accidents. My soul always followed by his side. Watching him like this, I no longer knew what my mood was. Hate, or heartache? I no longer knew. The hit-and-run driver was found. He admitted that to repay gambling debts, he accepted Selina's proposal, pretending fatigued driving to kill me. But Selina had disappeared. Adrian, after all, understood Selina and quickly guessed her hiding place. That day, he evaded the bodyguards following. He drove alone to an abandoned villa in the west of the city. He specially tidied up, although different from usual, he appeared much more spirited. The moment he knocked and opened the door, Selina's face showed surprise and fear. She tentatively asked, "Adrian, did you come alone?" "Of course, no matter what others say, I won't believe it, I only believe you. As long as you say you didn't do it, I believe." Selina was overjoyed, immediately dropping her guard. "Adrian, I knew you wouldn't abandon me and the baby." I will give birth to a child belonging to us too. Let's go, I'll take you away. The conditions here are too poor, bad for the body. Selena followed Adrian, sitting in the passenger seat. On the way, Selena kept envisioning the future. Grandma is just temporarily heartbroken. Once she calms down, she will definitely be happy. Once the baby is born, she will probably agree to our marriage. Adrian promised to help her settle the car accident case. Selena, overjoyed and forgetting herself, kept repeating about the child along the way. But she did not notice that the car was getting farther from the city center, arriving at a desolate cemetery. Adrian, why come here? It's too creepy, let's leave quickly. Adrian stopped the car, his hand gripping the steering wheel with bulging veins. His bloodshot eyes scared Selena into trembling. Adrian, what's wrong? Selena, that day I was drunk, not dead. Don't think that lying beside me would make me believe the child is mine. The seed in your belly, probably even you don't know whose it is. When I arrived that day, there were 4 people. Tell me, who is the child's father? Adrian's face became increasingly gravely terrifying. Each word smashed onto Selena, making her want to escape uncontrollably. But the car door was already locked. Adrian, for the sake of knowing each other so many years, let me go, please. When you killed my wife and child, why didn't you think of letting them go? I just love you too much. It was all foolish acts because of loving you. Selena seemed to want to repeat once more about developing depression because of him. But there was no opportunity. Adrian started the car, to maximum horsepower, crashing the passenger side viciously into a roadside tree. Once, twice, 3 times, until the car was wrecked, the person inside smashed to pulp. Adrian, with old wounds plus new, got out of the car and vomited a large mouthful of blood. Finally, dragging his blood-soaked body, he crawled toward a person ahead. It was my mother, so he knew my mother had brought me here. Mom, sorry. He laboriously signed, repeating this phrase non-stop. At this moment, my soul lunged toward my mother. I wanted to hug her, but could not. Her hair was completely white. Her swollen red eyes kept flowing tears. Adrian, too late, apologies are useless. My mother originally did not want to let him approach me, but seeing his blood-soaked appearance, she still could not harden her heart. Elaine, look at me, okay? I promise never to abandon you again. He lay prostrate before my grave, blood mixed with tears constantly flowing down. I always thought we had plenty of time. I wanted to tell you I have fallen in love with you, but I was too embarrassed to say it. Actually, after the baby was born, I had prepared to never see Selena again. What I said about wanting to live well with you, caring for the baby together, was all true. Elaine, I love you, I love the baby. I smiled bitterly. Finally, after my death, he said he loved me. But I don't need it anymore. Adrian, before it was you abandoning me, now I will abandon you too. Before the police arrived, he fainted. Sent to the hospital, he stayed for 3 months without waking. The doctor sighed and shook his head. It depends on the patient's will to live, otherwise, cannot predict when he will wake, maybe tomorrow, maybe never. It's also possible the patient is immersed in his own dream, unwilling to wake. Until years later, the caregivers attending him changed wave after wave. But every caregiver saw the patient cry and heard him often shout, Elaine, sorry. Baby, sorry, it's all Daddy's fault. Don't go, pay attention to me, okay?